Mike Milborn with Ameritas.
Dana Wondercheck with Ameritas. We were looking at individual classes. So we did a smart sheet for a class and we looked at it. Oh, everybody loved us, wasn't that wonderful? But we had no way to go back and look at the data across classes, across years. We couldn't see anything. We had no way to aggregate it, to report on it. So the challenge that we had is how do we take what we think, Mike's word he uses all the time is anecdotally, and really be able to illustrate it and show it. So Metrics That Matter allowed us to look at what do people actually think of us in an aggregate and across the different lines that we train. So it really allowed us to go back and look at what do we do and show that to our executive team and feel good about what we do.
We knew, for instance, there was some timing to our hiring. That if we hired in the fourth quarter, those people had such a hard time getting started. But what about the first, second, or third? Which one's best? Metrics That Matter showed us the third quarter hire. They get started and get to quota 2.5 months quicker than anybody else if we hire in the third quarter. We never knew that. We also never knew which managers were the most effective in getting their people up to speed. And when we saw that in a graph, we had come to part ways with one of our managers that was the best at that. And it was a mutual parting of the ways, but we may have done some things differently to keep them had we had that data to know he was one of the best, and could we have learned from him before he left in that case. So some of those sorts of things were very, very valuable. We found out. We also found out our hiring profile had lost its effectiveness because we've loaded all the hiring profiles in there. And B's and C's were starting to outsell A's. And so over time, it had come kind of out of calibration, and we needed to, the marketplace is different, we needed to recalibrate. We kind of knew that a little bit, but now we could prove it.
It is such a dynamic system. There is so much to learn and to navigate that you really need someone who is dedicated to knowing the system, understanding how to set things up, get reports out, and have them continually learning. There is so much. We've barely scratched the surface of what Metrics That Matter can do.
Yeah, I think if you can meet with some stakeholders, or if you can anticipate how to set up those demographics in the system, because as Dana said with that national sales meeting, if we'd have thought about some different roles to add that we didn't add initially, where they wanted some cuts differently, had we had that in there, we could have done that very, very easily. So we went back and have added those. But if you can really think about getting a good platform built about any way you might want to cut that data, making sure all those demographic points are in there, that's a good foundation to start from. And then again, and just jump in and start working with it.